We started of the Alavaka Sutta last Monday. There was a note that I made for last Sunday, 48, which has some questions about the sutta, because we had an introduction about this. What is the significance of studying the Alavaka Sutta in Buddhist teachings? Any thoughts? Why do we need to study about this sutta? Right? Why? Is that a very mind-boggling question? Why should we study this sutta? For what? Because there are many suttas. Why did we pick and then study this? This sutta talks about the ideal things in terms of the Dhamma, ideal things. Now when you say ideally speaking, those kind of level Dhamma teachings. That's why now if you go to the today's section, you can see all these questions have been asked by the Alavaka Yakka in an ideal state of question. It's like on a very high bar, the questions have a very high bar, and the answers which the Buddha gave also represent the same level. So that means this sutta is important because we understand a very high level of things that are relevant to our life. The best, the highest, best, highest, the most important, that kind of. That's why. So that means although we pick on bits and pieces of Dhamma scattered in other suttas, when we come to this Alavaka Sutta, we can understand the highest levels of certain aspects of our life. And then there are many other things we can learn as we unfold the sutta, so we will learn them in the meantime. Why did the Buddha repeatedly agree to the Alavaka Yakka's request? I think I explained to you, it is because he understood that this would be the best way to get in touch with Alavaka Yakka, because he's not a normal person, and he's a tough person. When you work with the tough people, you have to understand how to get along with these people. You can't be normal. That means when you are talking to a tough person, you don't need to be tough, but you need to be diplomatic, smart, and then Navadhammavi, wise. So Buddha had to think that if I had declined his request at the beginning, he would have not even started a conversation with me. What was the nature and extent of the threat posed by the Alavaka Yakka? It was a very terrible, very ferocious intimidation he made to the Buddha. Said, I will throw you to the other shore of the Ganges. So he went as far as to indicate physical violence, a very terrible physical attack, if he did not answer properly. The first time that somebody is giving a threat to a contemplative, a monk, in the history, right? Let's say you just imagine a devotee is going to see a monk. If you don't answer me, I'm gonna throw you to the other shore of the Ganges. That's a pretty strange kind of an intimidation. Anyways, he's a yakka, so we understand that. Are yakkas considered devas in Buddhist cosmology? Are they? Yes. You were kind of confused about it. Yes, they are. Yeah. And if so, what realm or hierarchy do they belong to? What is the realm, Deva realm, that they are part of? Chatum Maharajika, the first heaven. They are part of the first heaven. And do they have a hierarchy? What kind of hierarchy do they have? Do the yakkas have? Yakkas have their own hierarchy, that they are responsible for Vesavana, Kuvera, the head Yakka. And then there were other provincial Yakkas, like Alavaka was a provincial Yakka, who is responsible for his own territory. Are all Yakkas followers of Buddhism, or do their belief vary? Are they all followers of the Buddha? No. How do we say that? What is the proof to say it? Was it our imagination? No. Or do we have any information to back up that idea? Yes or no? You said no. Then what is the proof for that? Textually speaking. There is a sutta called Atanatiya Sutta. In this Atanatiya Sutta, we can see that some Yakkas declare to the Buddha that we don't follow your teachings. We don't want to follow your teachings. So that itself shows they are not Buddhist Yakkas. They are not Buddhist Devas too then. I mean, they are not Yakkas in the Buddhist way. They are not Buddhist Devas too. So that means your prayers will not be answered by them. And they will be not realized as well, because they don't pay attention to you. They are not Buddhist. If not all Yakkas are Buddhist, what factors might influence their belief or behavior? Their natural tendency is to immoralize, life. Immoralize by killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, engaging in sexual misconduct, lying, and being intoxicant in their own way. Now in some countries, in Sri Lanka, now when someone is very mad, say, what Yakka has come to your life just now? They are asking like that. When someone is very angry, I think one bad Yakka has come into you. You were just a good person just a while ago, but what happened to you just now? There are people like that. They are very good, look very good, but in a moment of time, they storm, never like a normal storm. Why? It's not because that person is a psychopath or has a bipolar disorder. It's because and Yakka has ascended into his or her life. So Yakka has been taken as a negative state of mind. Right? And also in the Vedas, Sanskrit Vedas, long time ago, they say when someone got a heart problem, and then they didn't want to dissect the body and then, dissect the rib cage and then take the heart out or do things. They thought the person now is going to die because they don't know what to do. So heart Yakka has attacked this person. Heart Yakka. There is a book called Different Yakkas actually. But can you see the book? You can. Yakkas. There is a book in Sanskrit called you can't read this book, but I just want to tell you. Atharvan Veda. Atharvan Veda, Sanskrit book. So there are three, we understand Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Saman Veda, and Atharvan Veda, the fourth one. These are the oldest Sanskrit Hindu text in India. So Rig Veda has all the textual compositions of how different priests invoke the blessings of the gods, like Agni, Varuna, and all these pantheon of gods at that time. Then Yajur Veda is about how does a Brahmin, high-class Brahmin in India conduct an offering, oblation to the god, Yajur Veda. Saman Veda is about music. It's about music. How does a priest conduct an offering in a certain melodious manner? But when it comes to Atharvan Veda, the emphasis has been switched on to certain rituals and then certain yakkas actually, because this is 1,500 years older than the Buddha's time. We call it actually, with the Veda time is 1,500 BC, the Veda time. The Buddha is 6 BC. So 6 centuries before the birth of the Jesus Christ. So this means 1,000, many centuries before. So this book has dealt with a lot of yakkas actually. Say when somebody got a heart attack, they don't know how to do it actually at that time. So they said heart yakka has assaulted this particular person, and that's why he or she is dead now. And there was another yakka we call Takman. Takman is the fever yakka. When someone caught a fever, headache fever, they don't know how to treat that person. The Takman has entered into his body. Right? So this is the idea, you know. So they all attributed certain invisible yakkas into the problematic situation. So in the same way we understand the yakkas we understand from the Buddhist teachings, they all represent certain things. But we don't believe that when someone is angry, that doesn't mean that a yakka has entered into his life. It is because his inability to manage his or her emotions. But culturally speaking, people talk like that. When things seem to be very miraculous, incomprehensible, then they bring this yakka thing into those nature. All right, so what yakkas are most frequently mentioned in Buddhist suttas, and what are their roles? We know the yakkas such as Alavaka, Suchiroma, Kararoma, Satagira, Hemavata. What other yakkas are there? There are many yakkas in the Buddhist suttas. Janavasabha yakka. Janavasabha is the king Bimbisara who passed away and became a yakka. Many yakkas, you can see their nature, their attributes, their characteristic, how they behaved. So we can see a lot of yakkas scattered in many suttas in the Sutta Pitaka. Finally, what led the Alavaka yakka to become submissive to the Buddha? Was Alavaka yakka very dismissive about the Buddha at the beginning? He was very dismissive about the Buddha because he didn't care about, because he did not have a proper understanding. But later on, because the Buddha was kind of agreeing to him in the way how he asked things and how he did, he was kind of friendly, becoming friendly with the Buddha. That is where he started asking questions. All right, for those who did not show up last Monday, I think this short summary may be a good one. All right, so today we are going to discuss about these stanzas, number 8, number 9. Number 8 is the question, interrogative forms of the idea, and number 9 is the Buddha's answer. King su the vittang purisassa settang, king su suchinnang sukhama vahati. Kinsu have sadhu tarang rasanang katang jiving jivitamahu settanti. These are 4 types of questions that Alavaka yakka asked from the Buddha. Actually, these questions are not new questions. They were asked by somebody, another yakka at the time of the Kassapa Buddha. Long time ago, long time before. Buddha Kassapa. That means the Buddha before Gautama Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, right? Buddha Kashyapa, actually. So let's see how are the questions given. King su de vittang puri sassa settang. King. King means? What does king mean in Pali? What? What? Su, either. Su means well. Su means well. In Pali, su means well. What are the words that we know about Pali word su, and then starting with su? Supatipanno. Patipanna means already entered upon, but supatipanno, well entered on, right? Supatipanno. Other Pali words which has a su at the beginning, you know. Sugata. Gata means gone, but sugata means well gone. Sumana. Is there a Sumana here? Any Dhamma name of Sumana? Right? Do you have a Dhamma name, all of you? Huh? Yes? What's your Dhamma name?
Just given by Bhante.
Okay, good.
Actually, I yet to know how to pronounce it. Just gave it this morning.
Okay.
S-A-A-M-A-A, Saman.
S-A-M-M, long A.
S-A-A-M-A-A.
S-A-A. Sama. Sama. Okay. Sama.
What is that?
Very interesting.
For a name,
Yeah. Sama means someone who is very peaceful. Who is very peaceful. Yeah. I hope you are. Because when the teacher is giving a name, it has to be really, working on the person.
Meditation retreat we did 2 days ago.
Yeah, okay, good. All right. Who else has a Dhamma name? It doesn't mean that you must have a Dhamma name. I mean, just Sujana. That's for you. Okay, so right, good example. Sujana. Jana means? What was it? Yeah, I know, it's a person. But the meaning? Sujana? Sujana. Jana means knower. K-N-O-W-E-R, knower. Someone who knows something. Sujana means someone who knows very well. Are you like that? Hope, well knower. Sujana. Who else got a Dhamma name already? Anybody else? Malini. Malini, maybe. M long A. Malini. Yeah, the one who has a garland. Do you have a garland? But that is a metaphorical name. It's not a real garland one. The garland in that name means you are someone who is picking up the good things in life and making a garland. You can't take the literal sense of the garland. There are many people, if you go to Hawaii, a lot of people have garlands, but we don't call them Malinese. I mean, they just wear it, culturally speaking. But this Malini is metaphorically given. It means you are someone who is picking up every single good thing one by one and making a garland out of it. Yeah. So anyways, taking more time then. Su means well. Su means well. Now, if you take another Dhamma name, Sumana. Sumana. Right? Mana means? Mind. Sumana means? Good mind. The one, that's a bit intimidating, I think. The one who has a good mind. Otherwise, we think only that person has the good mind. The one who has a good mind. Actually, we all are trying to... our mind is good by nature, by default. It's more about our thoughts. The one has good thoughts. Because mind is something which we were built in when we were born, so we don't have any problem with that. The problem is with the thoughts. How do we manage the thoughts? Suchinta, the one who has good thoughts. So Su means good. Okay. Su means good, well. Yeah, it could be excellent, if you bring to the next level of the good, definitely. Yeah. King Su Ida Vittang Purisassa Settang. Purisa mean man. Man. Settang means highest. Vittang means wealth. So, what is the highest wealth for a man? Now, this man is a unisex interpretation at that time. Because what we understand is that Buddha had to go by the society at that time, and then he had to blend in his Dhamma teachings into that society. It's not a very gender-friendly society that we understand, right? So Purisasa means a human. What is the greatest, highest wealth for a human? King means what? Su means well. Ida means here in this world. Vittang is wealth. Purisassa means human. Settam means the highest. Okay. Answers in the other next stanza, but we'll like keep understanding the questions. Second one. King Su Suching Nang Sukhama Vahati. Now we have to separate the Pali word here at the end. Sukhang Avahati. Sukhang. This is one word. Sukhang. Sukhang means at this point. Avahati is one word. Suchinnang. Kinsu suchinnang sukhama vahati. Avahati means bring. Bring. Avahati. Sukhang means happiness. That means brings happiness. Suchinnang means suchinnang. Suchinnang. I think in order to understand this suchinna, this Pali word, I think we have to learn about something similar to this archin, suchinna. Have you ever heard that how do the karmas take effect when we die? So there is a certain order. How does the karma process when we pass away? Garuka, Asanna, Achinna, Katatta. Okay. Now let's say someone is to pass away. Now how does the next life be decided with that passing? Karmas has its own process, its own maturation. Karmas don't maturate the way how we expect. It's like that there are two people who are trying to plant 2 mango seed here at the same time, 11:15 a.m. tomorrow. But this mango tree is going really very well. But this mango tree grows, but it's not that good. Because there are conditions that have affected probably temperature, sunlight, caring, nursing, many things. Huh? But the both say, no, we planted the both mango at the same time. It's like that 2 people come to a vihara and give dana and thinking that we both are in the same boat, not in this life, but also in the next life. Can it be possible? Theoretically speaking, it might be. But practically speaking, it's not. Why is it? The reason is that we don't know the level of their mind, level of their thoughts. So that's why when we pass away at a certain point of our life, karmas, they mature and they get saturated in its own processing. Normally, karmas take an order of the Garuka karma as the first thing. Garuka means very weighty karmas, very much weighty, very heavy karmas, heavy. What are the heavy karmas in Buddhism? Very heavy karmas are there. Huh? Kill Buddha is a heavy karma? No, let's talk about the good side first. Don't pick the bad side. Start with the good side. Good side and the bad side. What are the heaviest karmas in Buddhism? Good karmas, good side. Yeah. Jhanas, samadhi. Huh? What is it? Save life. Dhammadana. Dhammadana is the highest dana of dana. Highest dana out of the danas. What are the very weighty karmas? Huh? When you become an arahant, you have no life after. So that person is exempt from this theory. Right? No more, no less. Yeah. So we understand that the highest karmas are, typically speaking, the karmas you have done out of the Noble Eightfold Path. Whatever the good things you are doing under this Noble Eightfold Path, they belong to the highest karmas. Because it's a process. They all are combined together. And on the flip side, the wrong side, immoral side, are the there are six heavy karmas. Heavy bad karmas. What are they? Killing mother, killing father, killing arahants, wounding the Buddha, and creating a schism among the Sangha members. And then finally, following a teacher who does not teach about how to end the dukkha. There are 6, not 5. This is given in the Bahudhatuka Sutta. You can check this one. Bahudhatuka Sutta. The 5 heinous karmas given in the Abhidhamma. The one you know, 5, it's in the Abhidhamma teaching itself. It's not a Sutta teaching. But this Bahudhatuka Sutta, I can't remember the name, number. You can check that. The Sutta says 6 heavy karmas. So when you pass away, karmas check whether you have done one of the Noble Eightfold Path factors properly, or maybe as a whole, or whether you have done one of the 6 heavy karmas. Karmas naturally look into your performance out of that thing. If you have done one of them, then the process will get stopped and you will be reborn according to the priority. Garuka. Asanna means the death proximate karma. We call it death proximate karma. What does it mean? The last karma, the last thought that comes to us. How do we know it is the last thought? Can we die very mindfully? How do we know when we're going to die? At what time? That's a very ridiculous topic, I mean, to think about, to be mindful at the time of the death. But we can think about something. If we are really trying to practice metta all the time, one day of that practice we will die. So we have the metta, which the Buddha says we will die mindfully. Asam mulho kalang karoti. One of the benefits. So, asanna karma means if you have done neither Noble Eightfold Path practice nor the heavy bad karmas, then the karma maturation is looking at whether you have done a proper asanna karma. Death proximate karma. Suppose you are not into a coma, things like dementia, whether you can't create a valid good karma at the point. So death proximate karma will be picked up. So there are a lot of examples about this actually. If you look at the stories, one very good story is the Dhammika Upasaka. Dhammika. Now, Upasaka Dhammika, I think I shared with you some time ago. Upasaka Dhammika was going to pass away, and his children thought we would invite the Sangha members over to our house. And the Sangha members came to the house, they started chanting the Satipatthana Sutta. And then halfway of the chanting, he said, stop. So the children were not happy. Our father was very staunch, devout follower of the temple, supporting all the things. But suppose the last moment, he is going to stop that. And then the unenlightened monks thought, yes, I think he directed us. So we had to stop the chanting. We had to go back to the temple. And then he regained his consciousness. And then he asked, where are the Sangha members who have come here? Then he said, Father, you asked them to stop, so they went back to the temple. No, I didn't ask them to stop. I was seeing a lot of Deva holding and trying to put garlands around my neck. I said, let me do some more good karmas and then to decide where to come. So I told them to stop doing this. I had to create more good karmas here. And then he passed away. So this means there are 3 things that appear to anyone who is going to pass away in Buddhism. One is the kamma, last kamma, a symbol of the karma, and we call it gati nimitta. Gati nimitta means a perception about the next life. According to Buddhism, it is said that most of us will have to go through this gati nimitta, which means we know where we are heading, but we don't have time to share with other people. Very interesting. But only Dhammika Upasaka, he could share that with his children. Very extraordinary character. So that means his asana karma was that chanting, listening to the chanting, which is a very good idea. Now, the reason why I wanted to explain this was achinna karma. This is what I wanted to say. Because here, Alavaka Sutta has the word called suchinna. That's why I came here. Achinna means, now let's say someone has not done any of Noble Eightfold Path Factor Good karmas, or 6 heavy bad karmas, or there is not a very considerable substantial death proximate karma. Somebody who had some issues, mental issues at the time of the death. Then the karma is going to look at the third priority, achinna karma. Achinna karma means karmas that particular person has long been doing, like for a certain period of time. Let's say that person has meditated every day 5 minutes at the very least, give dana, then sila. You know, there are good karmas we've been doing as a regular practice. So then karma saturation is going to look at these karmas, achinna. If not, then it will go to the katatta karma. We call it defunct karmas. Defunct means they are not very effective at the moment, but they are deposited. When the right conditions arise, they can help us. Sometimes we are very good people, but our good things are not coming out because we are surrounded by bad vibes, you know. Bad vibes. Bad vibes. Papamitta. Papamitta. So till we are with the bad people, or bad means, I mean, we don't want to call them bad, but we know something wrong. So then we don't feel that our light is coming out because they are taking us to the darkness and there's no light. So although we are practicing metta, we are supposed to be surrounded by the kalyana mitta. So these defunct karmas will have a lot of time to take effect, more opportunities to take effect. Achinna. Chinna means doing to a certain extent. A means to a certain extent. And suchinna means well done karmas. Okay, so this is what we want to discuss. I think we can see from here. Kingsu suchinnang sukama vahati. What brings happiness when done certain actions on a regular basis in a good way. You can see what brings happiness when practiced well. Practice or done well. Suchinna. Kingsu have sadhu tarang rasanang. Rasanang means taste. Taste. What kind of taste is that? Taste. Food taste or beverage taste? Did the Buddha try to tell us what could be the best taste? Or is it something little metaphorical? Like the garland's interpretation. It's a metaphorical thing. Actually, there are certain Pali stanzas in other places where Buddha says, Dhamma is a taste, is a drink. So we need to drink it. Dhamma rasa. It doesn't mean that you are filling up a glass of Dhamma and kind of drink. This is a metaphorical thing. It's not given in that exact technical way, right? So, out of all the tastes that people are having, People get to, eat, people get to drink, and they have their own interpretations of drinking, eating, right? And they are interpreting their sanya about the food that they've been having, savories, cravables, and other things. Out of all these tastes, metaphorically speaking, there is something that takes precedence. So, sadhu tarang, that means the best taste, rasana. What is it? Katang jiving jivitamaho settang. Katang means now how. Kim means what? Katang means how. Jiving means life. Jivita settanti, the best life. How? The one they say has the best life. How to live the life to the best of us. How to live the life to the best of life. Very interesting questions, right? Very, very interesting questions. Okay, so let's take a look at the answer. Any questions about these questions? About Pali or anything? Context? Yeah, regular practices can be a habit. Achina, yeah, habitual karmas too. Actually, our Dhamma practice has to be a habitual practice, because we form habits. And when we say you are a bad person, means not that you have bad, you have been forming bad habits, right? Either we have to deform the habits, bad habits. So habitual, or as I said, regular activities that you are engaged with. Where we're going to talk a lot about the aspects of the answers. First question was Saddhi de vittang puri sassa settang dhammo suchinno sukama vahati satchang have sadhu tarang rasanang panya jiving jivitamahu settanti. Each line has its own answer. First question. Number 8. King sudha vittang purisassa settang. Now what is the best wealth to a human? Saddhida vittang purisassa settang. Saddhida means saddha. Saddha is the settang, best wealth to any human. Now we have to discuss about saddha, right? I think we have been repeatedly discussing this topic in many suttas, but now you might be wondering what kind of saddha is this? Because I normally tell you that Dhamma is contextual for the most part, so we have to know what is the context here. Saddha is the greatest wealth to a human. What does it mean? What does saddha mean? Saddha means trust. And some people translate saddha to be devotion. Yeah, they also translate this to be faith. It's a very Protestant translation, The colonial people done that, Because the first English translations were done by the British officials who brought the Tipitaka books from Sri Lanka, Ceylon, to the Politics Society, London. So these books have a lot of Protestant translations. We gotta understand them. They didn't have Pali knowledge, so they approached certain senior monks at that time in Sri Lanka. So because of the lack of communication and the proper understanding in English, so they translated most of the Pali in their biblical way, Christian biblical ways. At least we have to appreciate that. But faith is not a good translation, definitely. Poor translation about what saddha means. Belief, okay. So now we've been discussing saddha has many meanings according to how you explain. Trust, somebody said faith, devotion, belief, and what else? Confidence. These are the main translations. But But let's look at from the Buddhist background, the Buddhist perspective. Now this is coming from English. What are the main context of saddha in the Buddhist text? Trust about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Not the trust. Unwavering or unwavering trust about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Unwavering. A lot of people, saddha is wavering every day. Morning to night. When they see something unpleasant, okay, this is a bad thing, because their sanya is giving them a very hard time. So, I'm going to, this part. Saddha means aveccha pasada. We call it aveccha pasada. So, another Pali word for saddha is pasada. Pasada, but it's not aveccha pasada. Only the sotapanna person has the unwavering trust about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Others are only trying to be. That's why they have no problem with the Buddha, Dhamma, but Sangha members sometimes, because it is there due to their own ignorance, right? If you have the right Dhamma knowledge, practice, you are not changing your saddha. Today it is very high and tomorrow is very down. And then Sunday you are good, you are offering dana. Monday is pretty bad. I mean, that's such a very fluctuating, like the weather, right? The weather is better than that kind of saddha, So, aveccha pasada means unwavering. That is the nature of a sotapanna person. Sotapanna, entered into the Noble Eightfold Path properly. Not yet complete, but entered into the path. So, now the answer to the Yakka's first question is, what is the greatest wealth to a human? Is saddha. So that means we can see that saddha in couple ways. One is this aveccha pasada, unwavering trust about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Second is trust in anything. We can say any good thing. Trust. Is trust very important to us in our daily activities, in our relationships, parental relationships and other things? How important is saddha? I mean the second context, not the first one. First one, we have no argument about it. Second one, in today's world, even at that time, it's a very important aspect. Why? When we lose saddha, we lose everything. When we lose trust, we lose everything. Examples. When the trust falls out, the love falls out. When the trust slips away, then responsibilities are also slipped away. Yeah, relationship we already discussed. And it matters, it affects everything. So that's why if someone, we don't have a problem with this one. If someone doesn't have trust in his or her relationships, in her parental relationships, other relationships, at work, social life, that means this person does not have the best wealth. But you may have lots of other things, maybe financial stuff, maybe people, but when the trust falls out, then you are not getting benefited with this precious idea. Have you seen people who are very confident about things? Why are they very confident? They trust other people all the time, right? They are not worried about them. They have no to minimum insecurities. But those who don't have enough trust in their whatever activity, they are creating a lot of insecurities. So those insecurities really put us in a very difficult situation. So we are not getting the best wealth because of that. Okay. Any questions about it? The first question, what is the best wealth to a human? It is the trust. Actually, we are supposed to discuss this from the trust in the mundane life. All the dukkha arise due to lack of trust. Not that we are human, right? There are people who are trying to label that dukkha is innate because we are human. But most of the dukkha come out because we have lack of trust. Because you are creating lots of insecurities. Yeah, that's what we have to now discuss, because Yakka is also waiting for that answer. How to improve trust? Very interesting. How to improve saddha? In order for us to improve saddha, especially in the mundane life, a good communication is the key. Number one is the communication. So we are coming out with a lot of insecurities because we don't try to understand the other person. Or maybe we want to talk a lot, listen less. Right? So communication is the key here. Try to understand the people in their own way. Right? Thereby you are creating a compromise, you are understanding. So that will be the best. And when it comes to Dhamma practice, how to create that saddha? Now we may have seen there are people who don't have enough saddha, so that their practice is not going well. They only learn Dhamma as a knowledge. How do we know that someone has enough saddha in the Dhamma practice? They are respecting those who are supposed to be respected. Right? That's very important. Right? Veneration part, and then engaging in other things. Right? Even a practice of chanting every day. I think that's a very interesting practice about saddha, creating saddha. Somebody might think that if they don't understand properly, why do I chant? I only have to practice. That's a misunderstanding, because if we don't trust the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha properly, how do we get blessed from the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha? So we need to have a chanting practice every day. Meditation practice every day, at least 5 minutes. And on top of them, we are doing other things. Right? So we have to create that saddha, the main saddha, at the same time, mundane saddha that we need to have in our life. Communication is the key, and understanding the other person is also a very important thing, right? And sometimes we think that everybody should practice the same thing just as us, right? This could be a problem among Buddhist practitioners. There is no such thing. What the Buddha said is that people are differently good, not good in one way. There may be someone who is practicing meditation in his or her own way. So we let that person practice his own meditation. Some time ago, there was an incident happened, a true incident. One of our devotees in Canada, Ottawa, and he was a plumber actually. So one day when he went to a house, he saw one man had placed a Buddha statue in his garden. So he was not happy about it, because they don't put a Buddha statue somewhere in the garden. Maybe to the end of the pool. And then he asked the question from the person. He's a Caucasian person. Why did you put the Buddha statue over there? It's disrespectful, You know what? I'm having my peace when I have a beer and then looking at the Buddha. That's my happiness. Huh? So then, he is not a Buddhist. He is in his own culture. And now he got an answer from that person. Now, It doesn't mean that you can do the same thing. Huh? So he said, when I'm having a beer, looking at the Buddha, I said, I feel calm, happy. And I don't get that happiness in my other activities. That's maybe his own culture. Huh? Yeah, so there are different people who are having their own peace in their own way. If that person is a complete Buddhist, then definitely that's not a good way to say that. But there are different people who are looking at their own peace in their own way. That's why I say people are differently good. Respect that. There is a way that they are going to achieve that particular thing. But if you think, no, you must come to the temple and 8 to 6, and then you should give dana 3 days a week. I mean, if he's a friend, she's a friend, you can do that. But it should not be your storyline, right? It shouldn't be your narrative to share with other people. Then you are forcing them, because you can't force Dhamma to anybody. Why is it? Ehi passiko. The Buddha said, don't force anybody to Dhamma, because it's come and see. Free teaching and free practice. It's not a forcible teaching according to how the Buddha said. Right? So, different people, we have to respect, we have to understand that different people are not good, differently good. And if we bring up this idea, I hope many people can be good people. Right? That's a good way to promote that. So, now what we need to understand about Saddha, once again, is that we need that veneration part, right? In our own way. So practice it. So you have the both side, spiritual aspect of the Saddha and trust in your lay life in terms of your relationships. The second question is, yeah, so there is someone like that. So you're asking how to help that person? Pessimistic.
Yeah. And then there's also another one who's very positive.
Optimistic.
Yeah. So I'm wondering what makes them to become like that?
Different reasons. One could be the environmental effect. You know, sometimes they were brought up in an environment where they always hear other people are trying to play down on other people's feelings, put down other people. Environmental factors affect. Sometimes it could be a genetic thing, sansarically. Maybe it is coming through from their ancestors. This could be. So there are multiple reasons, mainly those two things, environmental and genetic things. Genetic has connections to the sansara. So now what, if you ask me what can we do to them, is that we can help them in a better way. There are people who are always looking at the negative side of everything. It's like that there is a white board, white area, but they are only looking at the black spot. Why is it? Because in their upbringing, they were not asked to see the good side of anything. Maybe they were brought up in a family of lot of whining and complaints. Maybe mother, father did the same thing. Right? So it has affected them in the long run. Maybe they are friends, maybe how they were brought up. So there are things. So what we can do is that if you are a Kalyana Mitra, if you think that there is a way that you can help, so you can talk to them in a way how it can work out. It's a very different thing. It works case by case. But there are people like that. How many people are there in this society who pick up the complaints part first? And you can't go for a lunch with them. You know, they are always looking after the complaints, the tiny small thing. But there are others, very few people who appreciates, who double, triple, quadruple the good thing of anybody. Right? Even a small thing that they are trying to take it as an appreciation. But there are people, be careful, they are flattering you, the small thing they flatter, exaggerate, they are bad guys too, So there are two sides. This can go in extreme side, the worst way and the worst way on the other side, right? So we want people who can be real in their life in the proper way. Now there are people who say that we are very straightforward people, I tell you everything to the face. That also might not be a good idea. People will be embarrassed, They might scold us in public. They might give a very, what kind of review is that? A very, very strong review about everything, right? So we have to understand how things work and then to approach these people. So there are reasons why they have become as such. Yeah. All right. The second question is, Kingsu Suchinnang Sukama Vahati. As you can see, what brings happiness when practiced well? Now happiness, I think it's the main topic in Buddhism. Unfortunately, it is the least important topic in many people's conversations from Buddhism. Why? Buddhism has been given in a misconception context where Buddhism only talks about dukkha. Suffering is one layer, right? We don't want to follow Buddhism because Buddhism always talks about suffering. Isn't there any good thing in our life that Buddhism talks about? Actually, it's a wrong understanding. That wrong understanding has been done by the writers. By some others. Buddhism is trying to tell us the happiness. Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Arya Satya, Noble Eightfold Path. This will give you the highest happiness. Normal happiness, average happiness, the highest happiness. But they are picking up that dukkha part only. Now when somebody was explaining, it's true, Buddhism is dukkha. That's why dukkha samudaya arya satya, dukkha nirodha, all are dukkha. And I asked, can you tell me the complete sentence? Dukkha arya satya. Dukkha samudaya arya satya, cause of the dukkha. Then dukkha nirodha, cessation. Cessation means way out of the dukkha, not the dukkha, way out of the dukkha. And then the path which is leading to the way out of the dukkha. So they are talking about a way to become happy, right? So they are thinking that Buddhists are very serious and at the same time very unhappy because life is dukkha. So it's a wrong understanding. If you look at Buddhism in a proper way, you can see what is visible everywhere in Buddhism is trying to find happiness, right? So happiness has not been represented in any of the teachings. So how to understand that particular happiness? That's an important thing to learn. One issue with this topic is that the translation. The usual translation for dukkha is suffering. It is a poor translation. Dukkha has suffering at a certain level, but dukkha means a bunch of stages in an unpleasant experience, starting from a mild irritation, right? Starting from a very mild, very minor frustration, which lasts for a few seconds and then go away, right? Let's say someone is going to have some food and they're not happy with the food. But understand there is nowhere to go and then I'm going to eat this food. It was a just short-term frustration. But there are other people who have long-term frustrations, in their life about people, things, and minor annoyances and major annoyances. And then finally what happens is, what is adding up is a huge amount of dukkha at the suffering level. Right? So we don't use the word suffering to understand this generic Pali word dukkha. So Buddhism is a place of happiness. It's the place of happiness. Unfortunately, Buddhism talks about the highest happiness. So then people think that Buddhism does not deal with the mundane happiness. That is why I have picked up all the mundane happiness suttas, even this Alavaka Sutta, rather than picking up a very high-end monastic kind of sutta. Okay, so what needs to be practiced in order for you to be happy? Dhammo suchinno sukhama vahati. The teaching brings happiness when practiced well. What is the teaching which is discussed here? Dhammo. I think I have already discussed with you some time ago about this Pali word Dhamma. Maybe it's a good time to review the meaning of Dhamma again. Because it's Dhamma. So, there are many meanings. There are many meanings about the Pali word Dhamma. It's not a one word meaning word. Okay. Now it says, Dhammo suchinno sukhama vahati. Now, vahati, this part. Vahati means bring. Sukha means happiness. In Buddhism, sukha means both mental and physical happiness. Okay? Sukha means both mental and physical happiness. Both. But that happiness is arising when practice Dhamma in the proper way. So, going to the Pali word Dhamma. Pali word Dhamma has many meanings. This Pali word Dhamma, D capital, we say this is teaching. Teaching of anybody. Dhamma of Hinduism, Dhamma of Jainism, Dhamma of Judaism, Dhamma of Islam. You can say actually, this is a teaching. But ideally speaking, we take Dhamma, teaching of the Buddha. But we can also still use, because it's a Pali word. Then, this D simple, Dhamma. Have you ever encountered this Pali word in your reading? It's not D capital, D simple, lowercase, Dhamma. What does this mean? Mano pubbangama Dhamma. There you don't see this Dham. Dhamma. Here Dhamma means experience. Yeah, phenomena or experience. But this is still little fussy because we don't understand this properly. Here, experience means three things in Pali. We call them as Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara. What does it mean? Every experience we have in our life, good experience, bad experience, if you want to look at the consistency about that experience, any experience must have a feeling side, a perception, memory, and a good karma, bad karma. Let's take an unpleasant experience. Let's take an unpleasant experience. Someone cheated on you. Then the first emotion is that you feel betrayed by that person. Maybe not even a relationship, maybe money, maybe a promise, maybe a relationship, whatever. So the initial thing you have in that thing is experience. You have a feeling, a sensation. Then you have a memory about that experience. This memory is coming to you even after many years. Even when you see someone like that, okay, that experience has held you up, right? Okay, I think you are going to do the same thing to me, yeah? Because it's troubling a lot deep down in our heart. Sanya. Then what happens? Because of Vedana part and Sanya part of the experience, we are creating a good karma or bad karma, Sankhara part. Every time when you think about a bad experience, what happened to you in your life, you are either creating a good karma or a bad karma. Our natural mind always goes to three things. What if? should haves, could haves. Isn't it? Our mind naturally goes to these three things all the time. Then what happened? They are trying to replicate our past experiences on the side of Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara. So who can let go these things? It's a big challenge. Right? In order for us to let go our experiences, we must understand the consistency of our each experience, which has a Vedana part, Sanya part, Sankhara part. And we are troubling with these questions all the time. What if I did this? Sometimes when we go to correctional facilities long time ago, there were some prisoners who are saying that, what if I spend one more minute, I would have been a different person. I would have not been in this prison anymore. What if I spend 4 seconds? I would have not killed that person. I would have not stolen. So the miracle of 4 seconds, transformation of 1 minute, right? The power of 1 second. It happens because they are not able to understand their own experiences at the time. Okay, Dhamma, experience, second meaning. Then, third meaning, again Dhamma. This is a contextual meaning. Thought. A thought that comes to us. There are 16 thoughts the Buddha talks about in the Satipatthana Sutta. Now, if you can remember these labeling, Chakku, Sota, Ghana, Jivha, Kaya, Mana. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. And then the external parts, objects. What are they? Rupa, Saddha, Gandha, Rasa, Pottabha. Dhamma. That's that Dhamma, Dhamma means thoughts or thought. Are there other meanings for Dhamma? Yes. Another meaning. We can go this way too. Dhamma. Dhamma of life. The reality. Reality is another meaning of Dhamma. The fifth meaning, another Dhamma, is universal law is also Dhamma. Dhamma niyam. So there are many meanings, and somebody wrote a PhD about the multiple meanings of the Pali word Dhamma. It's a PhD. A long time ago, in late 80s. His name is John Rose Carter for Colgate University. The multiple meanings of the Dhamma, Pali word Dhamma. All right. It doesn't mean that you have to read it, but I just want to tell you that it has gone up to a PhD level. So that's the interesting thing. Okay, with the time. So here Dhamma means, that's very interesting. What does Dhamma mean here? 10. Yeah, what does Dhamma mean here? Here Dhamma means, teaching. But what teaching? 10 kusala activities. This is the Dhamma here. So when you practice 10 kusala, then it will bring you lot of happiness every moment, every day, in this life, next life, until you attain Nibbana. 10 kusalas. Now I am going to ask you, what are the 10 kusalas? Very basic question. Don't stay ignorant, because that's going to be a pretty bad thing for our sutta study. 10 kusala. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. How to understand 10 kusala? That's your Dhamma. Nothing else. Not the 5 precepts. 5 precepts are basic. The bare minimum of a good person. Bare minimum. But if you want to be a Buddhist, 10 kusalas. Because there are millions, billions of people who are practicing 5 precepts in every country. They don't kill, they don't steal, they don't sexually misbehave, supposed to, and they don't lie. They don't take, they are not even precepts. They are law. They are law by nature. 5 precepts are not anymore spiritual precepts. They are kind of low. But 10 kusalas, they are Dhamma, exactly. So your practice has to transcend from 5 precepts to 10 kusalas. 10 kusala has 3 actions, 4 speeches, and then 3 thoughts. Talk about. Okay, first, what are the 3 actions? Okay, not killing, not stealing, not sexually misbehaving. So they are the 3 kusalas that are done by action. Then 4 speeches, not lying, not slandering, we can say bad mouthing in our regular way. Then not having harsh speech. Finally, not being a gossiper or idle chatter. Then thoughts, 3 kusalas that come by thoughts. What are they? Not being covetous. It goes beyond greed. Covetousness is an expanded version of greed. Greed is a very minimal akusala. But if you go to abhijja, it's an expanded version of normal greed. So, not being covetous and not having ill will, not having wrong view. Now, this is your Dhamma. The more you practice these 10, the more happiness will come to you. Right? This is the answer to the Yakka. If you well practice Dhamma, well practice means these 10 things must be well practiced, not just practice, well practice. There are people who don't well practice, they just barely practice. Practice a very little, I can't help of not doing this, So they barely practice. You have to transcend. Well practice of. The Pali word is suchinno. Well practice 10 kusalas. Now in the list there is something interesting. With what platform, with what door we can do more kusalas? Is it the action? Is it the speech? Is it the thought? Huh? No, I'm asking now, there are 3 actions, there are 3 words, and there are 3 actions. I'm asking, now they are saying these are 3 doors: actions, speeches, thoughts. Actions is body, speeches is speech, and then thoughts are mind. So through which door, through which platform we can do more kusalas? Speeches. There are 4. Now look at the opposite of this. How can we make a lot of bad karmas, akusalas? By the speech. Yes. Lying, bad mouthing, harsh speech, and gossiping, idle chatting. How many people are doing this from morning to evening, night? Over the phone, social media, in the coffee shop. Huh? They are doing this very well. They are not barely doing them. They are doing very well. Opposite of these 4. Right? That's why we have to understand how to do more kusalas out of these 10 is by. That means that doesn't underscore these 2. So we can work on all these 10. These are all understood, but these 4 you have to make them real, make them practical, not just understand as a Dhamma talk thing. It's a real thing, it has to be. Then the last three, you have to understand covetousness, strong greed, and ill will, and michaditti, which is the opposite of the first noble path factor. Okay, so Dhamma means these 10 kusalas. Huh? So try to practice more the best possible way, so you will get more true happiness. Then, Satchang have sadhu tarang rasanang. Out. Truth is the sweetest taste of all. Truth. Being a person who always trying to be truthful. But we understand that sometimes truth cannot be spoken depending on the situation. So we are, what are we supposed to do at those times? Are we supposed to lie?
Silent.
Yeah, one way is to be silent. But you are not able to be silent. You are asked to talk, and you can't be silent, and you are compelled to talk. What could we do at that point? So we should know other smart methods, because we know that if we say that truth, there will be a fight going to happen. So what are the other things we can do? Huh? No, you don't have to go to that level. We have some smart things to do. We're going to change the topic. Change the topic. That's a smart answer, you know. Why you take the most dangerous thing in the first place, right? So we're going to change the topic. If we could, walk away, be silent, because we know by being truthful at that point is not a good idea. But we know we are truthful. Maybe I'm going to delay the truth. That's a good one. Delaying the truth until the situation is going to be de-escalated. But there are people who are escalating the problem, you know. Then a lot of storms are going to happen. So it doesn't mean that we have to technically be truthful all the time. We are trying to be. But if the situation doesn't allow us to be as such, we have to understand what to do. Maybe we are going to choose the least harmful approaches with that person, right? So thereby we are creating the best taste, metaphorical way of understanding the truth, actually. And then finally, the question is, Katang jiving jivitamahu settanti. How to live a life to the best of it. It's a very interesting thing. The Buddha said, Panya jiving jivitamahu settanti. That means, if you have lived your life with wisdom, that is the best way to have spent your life. Living with wisdom. But this is a very, this is a loaded understanding, which means Panya has a lot of aspects. Now Panya here means, I think we discussed that under the Pattakama Sutta, we are going to overcome Abhijja, Visamaloba all the time. We are going to overcome Vyapada every day. We are going to overcome Tina and Midda. We are going to overcome Uddacca, Kukkucca. We are going to overcome Vichikicca. The more we overcome these 5, the wiser we can live in this world. So you have to create that wisdom, so that wisdom does not automatically come to us. But as the English sentence says that life is not a dress rehearsal, we understand that. We don't have 2 times to live. Living means living. But we understand that if we know this wisdom, I think some of you might not understand what I said in Pali. Abhijja means we are not trying to have any greed for what we possess. We try to lower our greed. And we are trying to lower greed for what other people have. We call it Visamaloba. Vyapada means we are trying to always reduce ill will, to bring down, decrease any thoughts of destroying other people. How many people are struggling from morning to night in putting other people down, in destroying them, their businesses, their good reputation, their life, right? They are totally ignorant about this Dhamma teaching, right? So, and then Vyapada. Tinamidda means we are trying to overcome any laziness, any lack of energy problem in our Dhamma practice. Energy is a very important part. If we lose our energy, lack in our energy, if our energy is going to run out, then we are definitely into akusalas, right? Every moment you are doing to make an akusala is a deviation of your good energy. It's a deviation. That means your good energy, Dhamma energy, is going to fall out, and then the Adhamma energy is arising at that point. Hey, go for it. Just do it. That just do it mentality is going to come up, and then you are going to be messed up at that point. Tinamidda. Uddacha kukkucha. Restlessness of the mind and remorse. We know time to time we can be restless, depending on the reason. Distraction has some benefits in a way. If we cannot distract us, then we will not be able to let go anything, right? Distraction has a certain benefit, but not overall. But what the Buddha says here is that we should be able to rest our mind, rest our body, rest our thoughts. That is important in order for you to be a healthy person, physically, mentally. And then kukkucha means remorse, regrets. So if somebody has a lot of what if, should have, could have, that life is a complete place of a lot of remorses. Yes, nobody has done the best decision all the time, aren't you? So we may have made poor decisions, but now we have to make the right decision with wisdom. That is the important, at least from today itself. Today onwards, we are going to look at life with wisdom, these 5. Otherwise, don't worry about the past. Kukkucha. Finally, vichikicca, doubts about our life, especially Buddha Dhamma Sangha, previous life, next life. How many people are waiting to know who was I in my past life? Was I a deva? Will I be an animal in my next life? Will I be a dog? Will I be an animal? Will I be a yakka? We don't have to worry about these things. It is in the next life. Because next life is a representation of this life. So if we do well in this life, next life will be, assured, good. Don't have to worry about next life. So in that way, you are minimizing unnecessary doubts, right? Vichikicca. So this is how you are going to create your life with wisdom. So once again, Yakka's questions were, what is the best wealth? The Buddha said, saddha, trust in your life. It can go in 2 different ways. Saddha about Buddha Dhamma Sangha, saddha about confidence, trust about your relationships, your life, and with other people. Second, Yakka is asking how to bring happiness in the long run. And then the Buddha says it is by practicing the 10 kusalas. The more you practice these 10 kusalas by actions, by speeches, by thoughts, you are creating more happiness. If you think that your life is not a place of lot of happiness, which means you are, lack of these 10, you may have been doing 5 precepts, the bare minimum, but you may have not entered into this precious area in your Dhamma life. And the Yakka asking what is the best taste, maybe he was thinking that the Buddha might say it might be a drink, a physical drink, but the Buddha said no, it is metaphorical, it is the truthfulness. Finally, how to live the life to the best of us, it is with the wisdom. Buddhist wisdom, there are many types of wisdom in the world. Buddhist wisdom is understanding the 5 things and then to overcome. Any questions about today?
Good evening, Bhante. I'm just a bit confused on the sukha. I thought we have another. Sukha is physical, but mental is somanasa. This I'm a bit mixed up on this. I mean, you mentioned sukha, right? Is mental and also physical. Is it? I thought for mental is somanasa, the Pali words.
No. Somanasa is a Abhidhamma word.
It's an Abhidhamma word.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is an Abhidhamma word. What I was trying to say is sukha, our happiness has 2 things. In Buddhism, Buddha always used the Pali word sukha in 2 ways. happiness of the mind, happiness of the body. So we have to create both of those happiness types. Somanasa, Somanasa Pali word comes in the Abhidhamma, under the Chittas actually. Yeah. So it's bodily happiness and mental happiness, both when we say Sukha.
Bhante, when you talk about the Sukha physically, is it about comfort here?
No, I think it's more about your health.
Health
Of the body. Health of the body. You say you are trying to eat but you can't eat. Food is not going to be digested. It's not happiness in the body. Maybe you want to walk but you can't walk, you know. You have a leg problem, knee problem. And you want to sit down, you can't sit, you have a back problem. So I think those are blessings. They are not even coming from our past life. They are also coming from the lifestyle we are making in this life. Right? So.
And then the Sukha mentally means like a feeling?
Happiness of the mind, peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Less stress, less depression, no to minimal. Peace of mind. Right? I think people are struggling about that a lot with their loved ones, their people on a daily basis. Huh? So they have a lot of yakkas in that way, you know. Mental yakkas. Yes.
Bhante, if the Yakka is not a Buddhist, how can this teaching convincing to the Yakka?
If Yakka is not a Buddhist, some Yakkas are not Buddhists, how this... No, this Yakka is going to be a potential Buddhist Yakka. I mean, this Yakka, you know, he's going to be a potential Buddhist Yakka, going to become. But we were talking about other Yakkas who are not anywhere, anytime coming to see the Buddha and then want to follow him. It's a complete different level of other Yakkas, yeah. They are built in immorality. Yeah. All right, any other questions? Maybe. Would you mind going to the mic, please? Yes, they are recording.
Fear is because we have no trust.
We have fear because we have no trust.
No trust,
Okay.
right? So, if we correct our trust, the fear will be
Fear
gone.
can go away.
But if you are not fearful, are we still okay to follow all our duties?
I didn't hear that part. If we don't have fear,
No, actually we do our duties and do all the responsibility because
Okay.
we have that fear, like we have to do good things.
yeah, obliged to do. Mhm.
Yeah, if we are not having fear, we do everything, anything, whatever we wish to, right?
I think you are asking me, is there any good fear?
Yeah, good fear.
Okay, I got it. Yes. Yeah, that's the question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Normally our fears are irrational, to be honest. We don't look at the source of the fear. They are, to be honest, irrational. They have no proper foundation. If we unfold how did my fear arise, there's nothing actually. It's just my own sanya, my memories that I have applied to that particular thought. But at times there are certain good fears where we are not taking them as a stress, as a depression. Like for example, fear of not being able to practice Dhamma. This is not killing us, right? This is a feeling that we all have. If we be able to fulfill our Dhamma things as adequate as we can. So I think this can be a good motivation. I mean, fear of not being able to fulfill my Dhamma practice, your Dhamma practice, could be a good inspiration or motivation. But fears like that you are obliged to do, like a responsibility, as you said, maybe in a relationship, compromising financial things, other things, possessions, this could be killing them because the other person is trying to always play down on your feelings, put you down, and then take advantage of you. So we can see there are two types of fears. One could be a motivation. Yes. But my question is, why do we want to bring fear to be motivated? If I think this is a good thing, why should I take it as a fear? It's a good thing. I think it's a management of assembling of our own thoughts to give a meaning to that idea. I don't have to be feared. I take it as an inspiration, motivation to practice the Dhamma.
If we improve the trust, then we will not have fear, right, Bhante?
Yeah, in order to improve the trust, we have to understand what it is. How to understand that what it is part. So we have to have a wisdom to understand it.
But by practicing only we get wisdom, right?
Yeah. Understanding in Buddhism is a practice. Sammaditthi. Yes.
And Bhante, one more thing. You said mental happiness and physical happiness, right? So this all 10 kusalas, everything is starting from our mind, right? Means action, it is from the mind, whether I need to steal or not. The speech, whether I can speak or not. So everything is starting from the mind or the mental.
All are mind made.
So if we basically taken care of our mind or like mental happiness, so it leads to physical happiness by default, right?
But what if that someone injures his or her leg out of being careless, right? Someone injures his or her leg or knee, right? Now there is a physical pain that is not coming from the mind, right?
Oh,
it is in the leg.
that.
It is in the leg now. Someone tripped and then now injured the leg or the back. But the pain, now you are trying to make an argument, all the happiness or pain should come from the mind.
No, I said like if the mind is already happy or like peace or calm, if someone even hurting our leg also, like we know how to take care.
It depends. Subject to the pain. If the pain is very severe, 10 out of 10, I don't think mind can do anything. Then you are worried about your hand, you're worried about your leg.
No, but again our mind will think like whether I have to react to that person or stay quiet and take care of my leg.
Well, it's a very individualistic thing you may do, but many others won't.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, so it's a very individualistic thing. So what is important here is that body and mind should be equally taken care of. Don't think that if you take care of the mind, everything else is okay. Because if the mind is such a very precious thing, then it should not need the body. Why it needs a body? Mind cannot survive without a body. Body cannot survive without a mind. You can't be dualistic. Right? Mind and body coexist. But lot of things are happening from the mind, having the foundation on the body. So things are individualistic. Now the argument you are making is that there are people who are talking like this. If I have a pain in my leg, you have to think that it is a temporary, my pain is anicca. Who is going to think about when the leg pain is coming, my pain is anicca, you know? Who has that mind? Actually, this was given to Arahant Sariputta to Anathapindika. Anathapindika could understand that. Why? He was a Sotapanna. So should we tell all the lay people, when you have a pain, don't worry, it is not the back pain. Pain is anicca, impermanent, it will go away. Right? So you must take a painkiller, you should go by the medical things. So that means we should not de-emphasize the body. Body is important too. Both are important. So that's why the Buddha said physical happiness and mental happiness are equally important to be a happy person. Equally important. But unfortunately these people, they are only putting mind at that level, body somewhere way, way down. So the people might understand body and mind. They are two different things. All right, I think time has passed a lot. May all the good karmas we've been making today by understanding the Yakka's first set of questions about life and understanding the answers which the Buddha gave be transferred to the karmas, good karmas we make by listening to these teachings and engaging in the discussion, be transferred to all the departed ones who passed away in the name of all of us. As you understand, this is a time of Iminate Samichatu Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. That brings us to the end of Sutta discussion. I'm wishing you a good night and safe journey back home. Seeing you next Monday.